fall behind by very much. A touchdown has got to be max. You ask either one of these quarterbacks to deliver you from a 10-point, 13, 14-point deficit. I don't believe either quarterback, given the set of circumstances, this game, the magnitude and what's at stake, and where you go from here if you win, I don't believe either quarterback can come back from that. And Skip, if you look at the Eagles hit your quarterback. They led in quarterback pressure. They led in quarterbacks hit. The first 10 games, you look at Case Keenum, he was sacked 10 times. You look at the last half of the season, he was sacked 19 times. The one thing that we know, when you get hit, sooner or later the ball's going to come out. The Eagles do a great job of that, and I believe they will go hunting. Jim Schwartz will have them hunting on Sunday. The defenses are very, very similar. I believe that the Eagles can get away with Nick Foles not being his absolute best because I believe they have a more established and a more sound running game than what Minnesota is on the road. And so they need Case Keenum to be on his best behavior. And what we saw is that when you get Case Keenum in a situation where he's not comfortable, which means he doesn't have a 10, 17-point lead, he starts to press, and he will put the ball in harm's way.
Yep.
I believe the Eagles can coax him into turning the football over at least once. I'm a firm believer in the playoff, you pay double for turnovers. He'll turn the ball over at least once, and that will be enough for them to win. I'm going to say a very low-scoring game. I'm going to say 20-17, Eagles win and move on to the Super Bowl.
Interesting. So you realize what you just did.
What'd I just do?
Once again, you just undercut the MVP argument of one Carson Wentz. Am I right?
No.
Because I agree with everything you just said. I've been saying I picked the Eagles to beat Atlanta because they're being laughably underrated. They're being underrated on defense because, to your point, that's a veteran group.
Yep.
They play hard, smart, edgy football for Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
I give you that. And in the back end is just as veteran and savvy and tough-minded as the front end is.
Yep.
And that run game is being underrated because with LeGarrette, who the Patriots still miss, and your man from Miami, Ajayi, and that Corey Clement that they found out of nowhere, undrafted out of Wisconsin, it's a really good group, underrated. I think the receivers are underrated with Alshon and Torrey Smith, and Aguilar can fly, man. He runs he's got a little bit of T.O. going in him, just a little bit. I'm not saying he's T.O., but he runs with that anger. And Zach Ertz, I'm not saying he's quite Gronkowski or quite Travis Kelce, but he's
good.
He's up in there.
Yeah.
He might be in the next tier. He's a force for that football team. So I agree. So you can insert Nick Foles, and it doesn't really matter. As long as he doesn't throw it to the other team, which I don't think he will, then they're good enough. So to me, for you to pick the Eagles to win 2 playoff games and get to the Super Bowl means that Carson Wentz is disqualified from being the MVP.
Stop it, Skip.
Well, it is. No, seriously. Well, tell me why not.
He put him in position.
I know, but look how good his football team was around him. I mean, look at this. We just broke it down. You broke it down.
That's the whole objective. That's why you build a team. That's how you build a team. So that when your quarterback goes out, stuff don't go to hell in a handbasket. But that's what happens. That's how you build a team. And if you look at them last week, they had more rush attempts than pass attempts, even though they weren't being highly successful running the football. It was because Atlanta could not run away from them and put them in a situation where Nick Foles needed to throw the ball down the field in order to catch up. He was throwing swing passes, screen passes, little passes near the line of scrimmage because they were only down 3. They were only down 1 point. So that was Doug Peterson called it a great game. Let's see if he can do it again. I just believe being at home with that defense will be enough to carry them. I would pick Minnesota if this game was on the road. The pressure's on Minnesota also because they know what's at stake. It's just not going to the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is not in Miami this year. It's not in California. It's not in Atlanta. If you win this game, you're going home.
Yeah.
Now, the 49ers one year played the Super Bowl in what? Was that Pasadena?
No, it's Stanford Stadium.
Which is right. Okay, close.
It's close. Yeah. No,
but that ain't home.
Kind of a home game, kind of. But it's not their home stadium.
This is home.
Right.
You can't even sleep in your own bed because of the NFL. They're gonna make even if the Vikings win, they would have to stay in the hotel for the entirety of the week. But you're going home. you're going to see a lot of purple in that building. That thing is going to be echoing. So there's a lot of pressure on them also. But I just believe that the Eagles getting this game, and this is why you want the best record. This is what the Patriots do. You get the best record. You only have to play the minimum amount of games to get to your ultimate destination, but you want them to come to your house in order to do it.
So once again, you have sidestepped the issue, which remains that it looks to me like the Eagles made Carson Wentz more than Carson Wentz made the Eagles.
Stop it, Skip.
I'm not going to stop it because it's obvious.
We ain't talking about no Carson Wentz. He's not playing. He's been injured. We're talking about who wins the game. That's what we need to know.
I just heard your breakdown, and they're really a good football team.
They are.
So you're saying they're a Super Bowl team even without Carson Wentz. It's over. You just defeated your MVP argument.
They've already voted for the MVP, Skip.
Well, I'm just saying this shows you.
I'm glad you ain't got no vote.
In hindsight,
I'm glad you don't have a vote.
In retrospect, you look back and say, that's interesting. Dak Prescott had no help in Dallas, but he had.
Dak can't have no help now.
No. What help did he have?
He got Dez.
He got Dez. There you go. There's a liability. Dak Prescott, look what happened. Way overrated offensive line, no receiver that could uncover, and he obviously lost Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games, and in 2 games that he had Zeke wasn't all that great, and they lost back-to-back home games to the Rams and to Aaron Rodgers. So
who wins this game?
He had no help.
Stop listening.
I've got you.
Stop trying to make a case for Tom Brady's MVP.
No.
We've already talked about the MVP, Skip. I need you to talk about Nick Foles.
I'm just showing you that your argument was incredibly flawed, and because you just said fly, Eagles, fly, you just flew right out of your MVP argument.
Fly.
You did.
Fly,
well, I'm sorry.
Fly.
I got the Eagles winning a fairly low-scoring game. What did you say,
2017.
2017. I got 20-14 Eagles. And again, they should be favored in this football game at home. And I give you this. That's a hard place to win a football game. Yeah. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, that crowd is angry, crazy loud. And I know it's outdoors, but it's hard to win a football game there. And again, Minnesota, magic carpet ride, meant to be. But I'm good. I already told you, I am rooting for the Vikings because I want Brady to have to get by Jacksonville and then the #1 ranked defense, statistically, Minnesota's, in their Thunderdome. And if Brady can pull that off with a broken thumb, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Dislocated. I don't know what it is.
I already know. And then it's going to be played up now. Now, next week, if Brady were to win this game, Joy, he's going to have an amputee. He's going to be the first amputee to play quarterback in the Super Bowl. Let Skip Bayless tell it, it's easy to play with a broken leg.
No, he'll play left-handed. Now, that would be it. Wouldn't that clinch greatest ever?
I know what you do. And then it goes like this. This is why Brady's the MVP. He played with a dislocated thumb. The #1 defense, Jacksonville. I already know the narrative. I already know the story.
I keep telling you, a 1,000% healthy Tom Brady is going to have a hard time getting past Jacksonville. It's just a fact. You know it, and I know it.
Well, Skip,
right?
Nobody, unless he played Jacksonville, the first day they walk into camp, nobody is 100%. Brady's not 100%.
I agree.
So I'm just trying to figure out, with all that pliability, shouldn't your fingers be able to come out of the joint and go back in place?
You don't stretch your thumb.
Yeah, you do. That's how receivers do. They stretch their hands like this so they open up so you get used to catching the ball, have a big a big catch radius.
Okay.
Sure, I mean, see, Skip got me up here.
I got you going.
You got you flustered.
Yeah, you got me flustered because I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to
undercut. What I'm trying to do is what I did.
You're trying to undercut Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz not even in this conversation.
But he needed to be undercut, and he deserved it, and he got it.
No.
You did it. I didn't do it.
No, you did it. We talking about Nick Foles. You ain't even mentioned Nick Foles.
Do you want to switch your pick?
No.
You can have the
I want to know why you didn't mention Nick Foles.
I don't need to mention him because he just goes along for the ride with a really good football team.
Oh, so that's what Carson Wentz
All I care about Nick Foles is he doesn't throw it to purple. If he doesn't throw it to purple, I'm good.
So in other words, are you saying Carson Wentz went along for the ride?
In some ways, yeah. I just said they made him more than he made them.
So is that what Dak did last year, went along for the ride?
No. He led the NFL in QBR until the last week.
No.
Well, he did.
I don't know about – I know a guy that led the league in QBR.
And then he got hurt.
You know it?
And then he got exposed by Shannson.
Oh, you know what, Skip? And the guy has – and he still missed 3 games.
LeBron actually want the Cavs to keep Kyrie. We'll discuss that next.